Jackson Steele's coffee mug shattered on the floor of the Lunar Observatory's control room. His eyes, wide with disbelief, were fixed on the main view screen. It's gone, he stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Hilaria Voss, the lead astrophysicist, rushed to his side. What's gone, Jackson? What are you? Her words trailed off as she followed his gaze. Where Earth's faithful satellite should have been, there was nothing but an empty void of stars. Upwith, Hilaria shouted, her fingers flying over the nearest console. Run a full diagnostic. Check every system. The observatory erupted into chaos. Alarms blared as technicians scrambled to verify what their eyes refused to believe. Jackson stood motionless, his mind reeling. How could the moon, a celestial body 2,159 miles in diameter, simply vanish? Dr. Voss called out Rika Nayak, the team's data analyst. I've got something. There was a massive energy spike just before it disappeared. Hilaria leaned over Rika's shoulder, her brow furrowed. What kind of energy? Solar flare? Gamma ray burst? Rika shook her head, her voice trembling. Nothing natural, doctor. This looks artificial. A heavy silence fell over the room. The implications were staggering. If the energy signature was artificial, it meant only one thing. They weren't alone in the universe, and their new neighbors had just committed the greatest theft in human history. Get me the president, Hilaria said, her voice steely with determination. And someone wake up every damn astronomer on the planet. We're going to need all hands on deck for this one. As the team sprang into action, Jackson couldn't tear his eyes away from the empty space where the moon should have been. A chill ran down his spine as he whispered, "What the hell do they want with our moon?" Little did Jackson know, this was only the beginning. Humanity was about to be thrust into a cosmic game of cat and mouse, where the stakes were higher than anyone could have imagined. Thousands of miles away, in the heart of Washington, D.C., President Adira Lockhart was jolted awake by the insistent ringing of the secure line in her bedroom. As she listened to the frantic voice on the other end, her face drained of color. Madam President, her chief of staff, Kieran Reeves, burst into the room. "You need to see this." He flicked on the television, where every news channel was displaying the same incredible footage. Time-lapse videos from observatories and amateur astronomers alike, all showing the moon flickering and then vanishing in the blink of an eye. Adira's mind raced. The panic, the riots, the economic fallout, all of it paled in comparison to the existential question now facing humanity. "Get me the Joint Chiefs," she ordered, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her gut. "And Kieran? Pray this is some kind of mass hallucination." But deep down, Adira knew. This was no illusion. This was first contact, and it had come in the form of grand larceny on a cosmic scale. As dawn broke over a moonless Earth, humanity grappled with a new reality. Tides went haywire, throwing coastal regions into chaos. Nocturnal animals grew erratic, their biological rhythms disrupted. And in every corner of the globe, people looked to the sky with a mixture of awe, fear, and growing anger. In orbit, aboard the International Space Station, Commander Zura Okoye gazed out at the stars, her heart heavy. She had always dreamed of encountering alien life, but not like this. Not with an act of aggression that threatened the very balance of their world. "Houston," she radioed, her voice tight with emotion. "We got a problem. A big one." Back at the Lunar Observatory, Jackson and Hilaria pored over the data, searching for any clue that might lead them to the moon's whereabouts. "It doesn't make sense," Jackson muttered, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "Why the moon? Why not some other celestial body?" Hilaria's eyes suddenly lit up. "Because it's OURS," she breathed. "Think about it, Jackson. The moon isn't just a rock in space. It's a symbol, a constant companion in our myths and our science. By taking it, they've sent a message." "What kind of message?" Jackson asked, a knot forming in his stomach. Hilaria's gaze hardened. "That they can reach out and touch us anytime they want. That our most ancient landmark is nothing but a plaything to them." As if on cue, every screen in the observatory flickered to life. A face appeared, if you could call it a face. Crystalline structures shifted and realigned, forming approximations of eyes and a mouth. When it spoke, the voice resonated not through the speakers, but directly in their minds. "Greetings, humans," the being intoned. "Your lunar body is safe. For now. But know this. IT is the first payment in a debt you do not yet comprehend. We will return." And just as suddenly as it had appeared, the face vanished, leaving behind a stunned silence and a single, burning question. What debt? What could humanity possibly owe to a species capable of stealing the moon? As news of the alien message spread, the initial shock gave way to a simmering rage. Humanity had been violated, their cosmic backyard invaded. But they had also been challenged. And if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was rising to a challenge. In secret facilities around the world, scientists and military strategists began to plan. If these aliens could steal a moon, humans would have to think bigger. Much bigger. Jackson looked at Alara, a fierce determination in his eyes. "They took our moon," he said, his voice low and intense. "I say we take everything they have." Alara nodded, a grim smile on her face. Time to show these cosmic thieves who they're really dealing with. As night fell on a moonless Earth, humanity steeled itself for the fight ahead. They had lost the moon, but they had gained something far more powerful. A unifying purpose, a common enemy, and a burning desire for payback on a galactic scale. The game was on, and the universe would never be the same. The world had changed overnight. Streets once illuminated by moonlight now lay in deeper shadow, a constant reminder of humanity's cosmic violation. But in the darkness, a plan was forming, a plan so audacious, so insane, that it just might work. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility known only as the Vault, President Adira Lockhart stood before a gathering of Earth's finest minds. Scientists, generals, hackers, and even a few reformed criminals filled the room, their faces illuminated by the eerie glow of holographic displays. "Ladies and gentlemen," Adira began, her voice steady despite the weight on her shoulders, "we are here to steal a solar system." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Jackson Steele, seated near the front, leaned forward, his eyes wide. Beside him, Dr. Alara Voss scribbled furiously in her notebook. General Thorne Ironside, a man with more medals than chests to pin them on, stood up. "With all due respect, Madam President, that's impossible. We can barely reach Mars, let alone dash." "Nothing is impossible anymore, General," Adira cut him off. "They stole our moon. The rules have changed. It's time we change with them." She nodded to a wiry man with wild hair and eyes that sparked with barely contained energy. "Dr. Quantum, if you please." Dr. Laszlo Quantum, a name he'd legally changed years ago, bounded to the front of the room. "Right? So, here's the crazy bit. We're going to use their own technology against them." He pulled up a holographic model of the solar system. "Our moon didn't just vanish. It was transported. And to move something that massive, you need ludicrous amounts of energy. The kind of energy that leaves traces." Alara's head snapped up. "The energy signature we detected." "Exactly," Laszlo beamed. "We've been analyzing it, reverse engineering it. And we know we can replicate it. On a much, much larger scale." The room erupted in excited chatter. Jackson stood up, his mind racing. "But how do we know where to aim? We don't even know where they took the moon." A new voice cut through the noise. "That's where I come in, darling." All eyes turned to a striking woman with silver hair and an eye patch. She moved with the fluid grace of a predator. "Meet Nick Shadow," Adira introduced her. "Former master thief, now our acquisitions specialist." Nick smirked. "When you steal something big, you leave a trail. These aliens? They left a bloody highway. I've tracked them across the cosmos, and let me tell you, their home system is ripe for the taking." She pulled up a new hologram, showing a distant solar system. 7 planets orbited a blue-white star, and there, between the 3rd and 4th planets, was a familiar orb. "Our moon," Alara breathed. "Their mistake," Nix replied with a wink. General Ironside frowned. "Even if we can track them, Even if we can use their technology, how do we power something capable of stealing an entire solar system? Dr. Quantum's grin widened. Oh, that's the best part. We're going to drain the Earth's core. The room fell silent. Then chaos. You're mad. We'll destroy ourselves. There has to be another way. Adira raised her hand, silencing the crowd. I know how this sounds, but we've run the simulations. We have exactly 72 hours to pull this off before the core destabilizes beyond recovery. It's a risk, yes, but it's a risk we have to take. She looked each person in the eye, her gaze unwavering. They took our moon, they threatened our world, and they think we're defenseless. It's time to show them how wrong they are. It's time to show them that humanity doesn't just endure. We strike back. Jackson stood up, his voice ringing out. I'm in, whatever it takes. One by one, others joined him. Scientists, soldiers, hackers, and thieves, united in a cause greater than any of them had ever imagined. Adira nodded, a fierce pride swelling in her chest. Then let's get to work. We have a solar system to steal. The next 70 hours were a blur of frenetic activity. Around the globe, massive energy collectors were constructed in secret. The world's power grids were quietly rerouted. And deep in the heart of the Earth, a device of impossible complexity took shape. Dr. Quantum worked tirelessly, his hands flying over controls, muttering equations that would make most mathematicians weep. Nix pored over star charts, plotting the perfect cosmic heist. And Jackson and Alara coordinated it all, their bodies running on caffeine and sheer determination. As the deadline approached, a tense quiet fell over the vault. Adira stood before the central console, her finger hovering over the activation switch. She took a deep breath, thinking of all that could go wrong, of the billions of lives in her hands. Ma'am, Jackson said softly. It's time. Adira nodded. She looked around the room, at the faces of those who had worked miracles to get them here. Whatever happens, she said, her voice strong and clear, know that today, we fight for Earth, for humanity, for our future. She pressed the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the ground began to tremble. Lights flickered, and deep within the Earth, something ancient and powerful began to stir. On screens around the world, people watched in awe and terror as the planet itself seemed to pulse with energy. Rivers reversed course, auroras lit up the skies from pole to pole, and in the depths of space, something impossible began to take shape. A web of energy, vast beyond comprehension, stretched out from Earth. It reached across the cosmos, seeking its target. And when it found it, the alien solar system shuddered. 7 planets and countless moons trembled in their orbits. And then, in a flash of light that outshone galaxies, they vanished. In the vault, alarms blared. Energy levels critical, someone shouted. The core is destabilizing. Adira gripped the console, her knuckles white. Hold on, she whispered. Just a little longer. The Earth groaned, tectonic plates shifting in ways they were never meant to. Mountains crumbled, oceans roiled, and then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. Silence fell. Jackson looked up at the main screen, hardly daring to breathe. Where there had been empty space, 7 new planets now orbited. And there, right where it belonged, was the moon. We did it, Alara said, her voice filled with wonder and disbelief. Cheers erupted throughout the vault. People hugged, cried, laughed hysterically. They had done the impossible. They had stolen an entire solar system. But their celebration was short-lived. Alarms began to blare anew. Multiple incoming signals, a technician shouted. They're coming from the new planets. Adira straightened her back, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of triumph and apprehension. Well then, she said, a grim smile on her face. Let's go meet the neighbors. As the newly acquired planets settled into orbit around Earth's sun, humanity prepared for the next phase of their audacious plan. They had changed the game. Now they had to win it. The real battle was just beginning. The solar system was in chaos. 7 alien planets, yanked from their home star, now orbited Earth's sun in a cosmic dance that defied all known laws of celestial mechanics. And at the center of it all was humanity, standing on the precipice of a new era, or its own destruction. In the heart of the vault, President Adira Lockhart stared at the holographic display of their newly expanded solar system. The alien worlds pulsed with strange energies, a constant reminder of the audacity of their theft. Madam President, General Ironside's gruff voice cut through her thoughts. We've got movement on the third planet. They're launching ships. Adira's eyes narrowed. How many? Hundreds? No, thousands. The room erupted into frantic activity. Screens lit up with trajectories, threat assessments, and weapon capabilities that no one on Earth fully understood. Dr. Alara Voss burst into the room, her eyes wild with excitement and fear. We've decrypted some of their transmissions. They're not just angry, they're terrified. They think we're gods. Jackson Steele, who had been quietly monitoring communications, spun in his chair. Gods? We stole their planets, not their minds. Nick's shadow materialized from seemingly nowhere, a wicked grin on her face. Oh, darling, don't you see? We've just pulled off the greatest heist in the history of the universe. To them, we might as well be gods. Adira raised her hand, silencing the room. We're not gods. We're humans. And right now, we need to decide what kind of humans we're going to be. She turned to Dr. Quantum, who was furiously scribbling equations on any surface he could find. Laszlo, can we communicate with them? The wild-haired scientist looked up, his eyes unfocused. Communicate? Oh, we can do better than that. We can translate. Real time. I've been studying the energy patterns of their transmissions, and it's all just math, really. Beautiful, complex, insane math. Do it, Adira commanded. As Quantum worked his technological magic, the alien fleet drew closer. Earth's own hastily assembled defense forces took up positions, a ragtag armada of retrofitted satellites and experimental spacecraft. Jackson looked at the tactical display, his heart racing. They outnumber us 100 to 1. If this comes to a fight, Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. Then we make sure it doesn't come to a fight. Suddenly, the main screen crackled to life. The same crystalline face they had seen before materialized, its features shifting in patterns of agitation and fear. Explain yourselves, cosmic thieves, the alien voice boomed in their minds. How have you usurped the power of the ancients? Adira stepped forward, her voice steady. We are humanity. You stole our moon. We redistributed the balance. The alien face contorted in what might have been confusion. Impossible. You are a primitive species. You could not have dash. Oh, but we did. Nyx interjected, unable to contain her glee. Snatch your whole system right out from under your crystalline noses. Not so primitive now, are we? The alien was silent for a long moment. When it spoke again, there was a new tone in its mental voice. Was it respect? You have done what was thought impossible. Perhaps we have misjudged you. Adira seized the moment. We don't want war. We want understanding. You took something precious from us. We showed you we could do the same. Now let's talk about how we can coexist. The negotiations that followed were unlike anything in human history. Representatives from Earth and the alien worlds, who called themselves the Zrivax, met in the neutral ground of space, aboard a hastily constructed station in high orbit. Jackson and Alara found themselves at the heart of the talks, their knowledge of the initial moon theft proving invaluable. The Zrivax, it turned out, had taken Earth's satellite as part of an ancient ritual, a test they believed would awaken latent powers and species ready to join the galactic community. You mean to tell me, Jackson said, incredulity dripping from every word, that you stole our moon as some kind of cosmic initiation prank? The Zrivax representative, a being named Zalthrax, shifted uncomfortably. It was not a prank. It was a sacred rite, passed down through eons. Never has a species responded as yours did. Alara leaned forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her initial anger. But the technology, the energy requirements, how did you expect us to replicate it? Zalthrax's crystalline form shimmered in what might have been embarrassment. We did not. The test was meant to take millennia, to gradually push your species towards cosmic enlightenment. Your response was unprecedented. Back on Earth, Dr. Quantum was having the time of his life. With access to Zrivax technology, his theories were being confirmed and surpassed hourly. "It's all about quantum entanglement on a massive scale," he exclaimed to anyone who would listen. "They're not moving matter. They're moving the very fabric of space-time." As the negotiations progressed, a new challenge emerged. The delicate balance of Earth's solar system had been irrevocably altered. The additional mass of 7 planets was causing gravitational chaos. "If we don't stabilize the orbits," Alara reported grimly, "we're looking at planetary collisions within a year. Maybe less." The solution, when it came, was as audacious as the original heist. A joint team of human and Zrivax scientists proposed creating a network of quantum tethers, invisible strings of pure energy that would bind the planets in a complex but stable dance. "It's never been done on this scale," Zalthrax warned. "The energy requirements alone." Nyx, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, suddenly perked up. "Energy requirements, you say? I think I might have a solution for that." All eyes turned to the former master thief. She grinned, a sparkle of mischief in her eye. "Let's just say I've located a few uninhabited systems that won't miss a star or two." Adira raised an eyebrow. "Ms. Shadow, are you proposing we steal entire stars?" Nyx's grin widened. "I prefer to think of it as cosmic redistribution, Madam President. For the greater good, of course." And so, in a twist that would have been unthinkable mere weeks ago, humanity and the Zrivax found themselves unlikely allies in a scheme that would reshape not just their solar system, but the very face of the galaxy. As preparations for the grand stabilization began, Jackson pulled Alara aside. "Do you ever wonder," he asked quietly, "if we've gone too far? If we're meddling with forces beyond our understanding?" Alara looked out at the star-studded void, where fleets of human and Zrivax ships now worked side by side. "Jackson," she said, a note of wonder in her voice. "Understanding is what we do. It's who we are. We went from cave paintings to stealing solar systems in the blink of cosmic eye. Too far? We're just getting started." As if to punctuate her words, a distant star flickered and vanished. The first casualty in humanity's grand cosmic redesign. The universe would never be the same, and humanity was leading the charge into a new age of impossible possibilities. The heist was complete. The real adventure was just beginning. The grand stabilization was underway. Across the vastness of space, stars winked out of existence, their energies harnessed to fuel the most ambitious engineering project in the history of the universe. Humanity and the Zrivax worked in uneasy alliance, reshaping reality itself to accommodate their newly shared solar system. But as with all things of such magnitude, there were complications. Aboard the International Space Station, now expanded into a sprawling orbital complex, Commander Zurokie stared at the readouts with growing alarm. "This can't be right," she muttered, her fingers flying over the controls. "What can't be right?" Jackson's voice crackled over the comm. He and Alara had been overseeing the quantum tether implementation from Earth. Zara swallowed hard. "The tethers. They're not just stabilizing our system. They're pulling." On Earth, in the heart of the vault, alarms began to blare. Dr. Quantum burst into the command center, his hair even wilder than usual, if that was possible. "We've got a problem," he shouted, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and excitement. President Adira Lockhart, who had been in round-the-clock meetings with world leaders, spun to face him. "What kind of problem?" Quantum pulled up a holographic model of their solar system. No, not just their system, but a vast swath of the galaxy. As they watched, stars and planets began to shift, drawn inexorably towards a central point. "The tethers," Quantum explained, his words tumbling out in a rush. "They're not just binding our planets. They're creating a cosmic web, and we're at the center of it." Alara's face paled. "We're dragging other systems towards us? But the gravitational implications alone." "Forget gravity." Nyx's shadow materialized from the shadows, her usual smirk replaced by a look of genuine concern. "We're about to have bigger problems. Much, much bigger." As if on cue, the main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. It wasn't the crystalline features of the Zrivax. This face was something altogether different. a swirling vortex of energy and darkness, with eyes that burned like dying stars. Children of the cosmic cradle, a voice boomed, shaking the very foundations of the vault. You have meddled with forces beyond your comprehension. The balance has been disturbed. The ancient ones awaken. The transmission cut out, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. General Ironside was the first to recover. What in the name of all that's holy was that? Zalthrax, the Zrivax representative who had been quietly observing from a corner, stepped forward. For the first time since they had met the aliens, the crystalline being looked truly afraid. That, Zalthrax said, its mental voice trembling, was a cosmic guardian. We thought they were a myth, a story to keep young stars from going nova too soon. Jackson ran a hand through his hair, exasperation clear in his voice. Great. Fantastic. First we steal a solar system, and now we've woken up the galactic boogeyman. Any other surprises we should know about? As if in answer, the floor beneath them shuddered. Outside, the sky turned a sickly green, then a deep, pulsing purple. Quantum, Adira barked. What's happening now? The scientist was already at the controls, his fingers a blur. It's the tethers. They're not just pulling other systems towards us. They're merging them. On screens around the room, impossible images began to appear. Planets from distant systems phased into existence in Earth's sky. Stars danced and collided in cosmic ballets of unimaginable energy. And through it all, the quantum tethers pulsed and grew, binding it all together in a web of cosmic madness. Can we shut it down? Alara asked, her scientific mind already racing through possibilities. Quantum shook his head. Shut it down? My dear, we'd have better luck trying to stop a black hole with a paper cup. This is beyond anything we've ever. His words were cut off as a new alarm blared. On the main screen, a massive object appeared at the edge of their sensor range. No, not an object. A ship the size of a small moon. Incoming transmission, a technician called out, her voice shaking. The screen flickered to life, revealing a being that defied description. It was as if someone had taken the concept of alien and pushed it to its absolute limit. When it spoke, its words bypassed their ears entirely, resonating directly in their minds. Once, ZREVX, you have torn the cosmic veil. The convergence approaches. All that was separate shall be one. Prepare yourselves for judgment. As the transmission cut out, Nyx let out a low whistle. Well, she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. I'd say the universe is definitely not the same anymore. Anyone else feel like we might have overdone it a bit? Adira stood tall, her eyes blazing with determination. We started this. We'll finish it. Quantum, I need options. Alara, work with the Zrivax. Find out everything they know about these cosmic guardians. Jackson, get our fleet ready. If it's a fight they want, with all due respect, Madam President, Zalthrax interjected, its crystalline form shimmering with anxiety. Fighting the Guardians is suicide. They are the embodiment of cosmic law. Then we'll rewrite the law. Adira shot back. Humanity didn't come this far to be judged by some deep space hall monitors. We stole a solar system. We'll steal our right to exist if we have to. As if to underscore her words, the sky outside erupted in a dazzling display of cosmic fury. Planets from a dozen systems drifted past, bound together by gleaming quantum tethers. Stars merged and split, giving birth to new elements and bending the very fabric of space-time. In orbit, Commander Zero Koye watched in awe as reality itself seemed to fracture and reform. Earth, she radioed, her voice filled with wonder and terror. I think we're at the center of a new universe. Back in the vault, as alarms blared and screens flickered with images of approaching cosmic horrors, Jackson turned to Alara. Hey, he said, a wry smile on his face. Remember when our biggest problem was a missing moon? Alara laughed despite herself. Feels like a lifetime ago. Incoming. General Ironside's shout cut through the moment. On the main screen, the Guardian ship loomed ever closer, its surface writhing with energies beyond human comprehension. Adira Lockhart stood at the center of it all, her voice steady as she gave the order that would define humanity's place in the cosmos. All hands to battle stations. We didn't come this far to back down now. Let's show these cosmic guardians what happens when you back humanity into a corner. As klaxons wailed and the newly formed universe churned around them, humanity prepared to face its greatest challenge yet. The consequences of their audacious heist were coming home to roost, and the chaos was only just beginning. The stage was set for a battle that would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the very nature of reality itself. The universe was unraveling. Quantum tethers, once meant to stabilize a stolen solar system, now bound together vast swathes of the cosmos. Stars collided and merged, their energies released in blinding flashes that outshone galaxies. Planets from 1,000 different systems crowded Earth's skies, a dizzying dance of worlds that defied all known laws of physics. And at the center of it all was humanity, facing judgment from entities older than time itself. In the vault, now the de facto command center for Earth's defense, alarms blared ceaselessly. The massive view screen showed the approaching Cosmic Guardian vessel, a construct of impossible geometry that hurt the eyes to look at directly. President Adira Lockhart stood at the heart of the chaos, her voice cutting through the din. Status report. Now, Dr. Quantum, his hair now standing perfectly straight as if electrified, babbled excitedly. It's magnificent. We're not just creating a new solar system. We're birthing an entirely new universe. The laws of physics are being rewritten as we speak. That's fascinating, Doctor, General Ironside growled. But how does it help us not get obliterated by cosmic entities? Before Quantum could respond, Elara burst into the room, followed closely by Zalthrax. The human scientist's eyes were wide with a mixture of terror and exhilaration. We've cracked it, she exclaimed. The Guardians, the Convergence, it's all part of a cycle. Zalthrax's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. A cycle we were never meant to interfere with. The universe expands, galaxies form, life evolves. And then, at the appointed time, it all comes crashing back together to start anew. We've accelerated the process by eons. Jackson, who had been coordinating Earth's meager defense fleet, spun in his chair. So, what you're saying is, we accidentally hit the universal reset button? Not reset, Nyx interjected, materializing from the shadows with a wicked grin. More like we've seized control of the cosmic remote. The question is, what channel we go to tune to? As if in answer, the main screen crackled to life. The face of the Cosmic Guardian filled the display, its features a swirling mass of stars and dark matter. When it spoke, reality itself seemed to vibrate. Children of the cosmic cradle, you stand at the precipice of creation and destruction. Your actions have brought forth the convergence before its time. What say you in your defense? Adira stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly. Defense? We need no defense. We acted as any species would, in the pursuit of knowledge, of growth, of survival. If that's a crime, then your cosmic laws are flawed. The Guardian's eyes flared like supernovae. Flawed? You dare dash. Oh, we dare. Nyx cut in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. We dare to dream bigger than you ever imagined. We stole a moon, then a solar system, and now we're stealing the keys to the universe itself. The Guardian's form writhed in what might have been anger, or was it confusion? This is not the way. The cycle must be maintained. Order must prevail. Dr. Quantum, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, suddenly leapt forward. But don't you see? This is order. A new order. Evolution on a cosmic scale? As he spoke, holograms sprang to life around him, showing the intricate web of quantum tethers that now bound the universe together. We haven't destroyed the cycle. We've elevated it. Instead of a universe that expands and contracts, we're creating one that grows and adapts. Elara picked up the thread, her scientific mind racing. Think of it as cosmic genetic engineering. We're not just passive participants in the universe's evolution. We're active shapers of it. The Guardian was silent for a long moment, When it spoke again, there was a new tone in its cosmic voice. Was it curiosity? You propose. Change. Growth. This has never been done. Adira seized the moment. Exactly. It's never been done because no one ever dared to try. Until now. Until humanity. Zalthrax, who had been watching the exchange with growing amazement, stepped forward. And not just humanity. The Zrivax stand with Earth. We choose evolution over stagnation. Around them, the fabric of reality continued to shift and morph. But now, instead of chaos, there was a sense of purpose. The quantum tethers pulsed with new energy, binding not just matter, but ideas, possibilities, futures that had never before existed. The Guardian's form began to change, its cosmic visage reflecting the transformation happening around them. Perhaps we have been too rigid in our guardianship. The universe is change, after all. Jackson couldn't help but laugh. Did we just talk our way out of cosmic annihilation? Nix elbowed him playfully. Talked our way out? Darling, we just smooth-talked our way into running the whole show. The Guardian's voice resonated one last time. The convergence is at hand, but it will not be an end. Instead, let it be a beginning. A new cosmic order, shaped by those with the will to dream beyond the boundaries of what is known. With those words, the Guardian vessel began to dissolve, its energies merging with the quantum web that now enveloped everything. The view screen erupted in a dazzling display of cosmic rebirth. Galaxies spiraled together, their energies combining to form new structures of impossible beauty. Stars of every color imaginable danced in complex patterns, singing a song of creation that resonated through the very fabric of space-time. And at the heart of it all was Earth, no longer a tiny blue marble, but the nexus of a new cosmic reality. As the transformation reached its peak, a wave of energy washed over them. For a brief, eternal moment, every being in the newly forming universe was connected, their minds touching in a symphony of consciousness that defied description. When it faded, they found themselves changed, evolved. The boundaries between human and Zrivax, between organic and cosmic, had blurred. They were something new, something more. Adira looked down at her hands, now shimmering with starlight. Well, she said, a smile playing on her lips, I think it's safe to say we've gone where no one has gone before. Alara and Jackson, their forms now intertwined with streams of quantum data, laughed in unison. To think, Alara mused, it all started with a stolen moon. And ended with us stealing the universe, Jackson finished. Dr. Quantum, now more energy than matter, zipped around the room in excitement. No, not ended. This is just the beginning. Think of the possibilities, the discoveries, the dash, the adventures. Nyx cut in, her form shifting between shadow and light. After all, we got a whole new universe to explore, and maybe acquire a few interesting trinkets along the way. As Earth, now the central hub of a cosmic web of worlds, prepared to take its first steps into a reality it had helped shape, Adira Lockhart looked out at the star-studded void. Planets from 100 systems shared the sky, bound together in a dance of infinite possibility. You know, she said, her voice filled with wonder and determination, I think we're going to need a bigger vault. And with that, humanity, along with its unlikely allies, set forth into a universe of its own making. They had started as cosmic thieves, become universal architects, and now stood as the shapers of a new reality. The age of cosmic exploration had ended. The era of cosmic creation had begun.